Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are continuing this week of prospect discussion of breaking down NHL prospect pools, and it's time to discuss the top 10 prospects for, yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs. When you look at the Leafs, we all know the story there. An amazing explosive offense led by Auston Matthews, John Tavares, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, the list goes on, even with losing guys like Kasperi Kapanen and Andreas Janssen to help balance out that top 9 due to their cap situations for the most part. But no less, they have a great future, a promising one, and they really help balance out this roster with their offseason moves, led by the likes of guys like TJ Brodie, for instance, on that defensive front. So overall, when you look at this core group, it's young, it's effective, with so much to give. But how are they going to have longevity given their cap crunch? Well, they need to make sure that they have guys on fairly cheap contracts, ELCs. How do you do that? You do strong in your drafting, and that is exactly what Kyle Dubas has done really over these past 4 years now. And when you look at their prospect pool, it is thriving, so underrated, and you definitely should be taking more note of it if you haven't already, because there are a lot of great prospect pool players in this prospect pool, no doubt in my mind. So make sure you stay until the end of the video, find out all the deets and all my thoughts as to the top 10 players of this prospect pool, and also make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you end up enjoying this kind of hockey content. It really means a lot, guys, and these videos do take quite some time to get all these rankings through, so any love would really be appreciated. But without further ado, guys, let's get right into this video. Starting off at number 10, we have Mikko. The left-handed defenseman was drafted back in 2019, just a year ago, in the 3rd round. The 19-year-old, 5'10", 190 pounds, has a strong two-way game and reliability when it comes to what you can expect from him. Playing in Liga this past season in 39 games played, 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points. And the year prior, however, in 56 games played in the 18-19 season, he had 3 goals, 16 assists for 19 points. In 56 games, if I didn't mention that already. And he has 1 point thus far in the 2020-2021 season in Liga in 15 games played. So really solid numbers for a guy like Mikko. You're not getting anything too flashy with him. You're not getting a crazy offensive ability, but he's strong two-way and he's very reliable, which will benefit greatly for this Leafs team over these next couple years as they have their own kind of defensive woes. As we know, they addressed it heavily this offseason, but they're still going to need to rely on those cheaper contracts going forward. And Kokkonen has that ability over, say, these next 3 to 4 years to really push, hoping he hits North America and has a strong transition. He'll really be a solid bottom pairing defenseman where you just get reliability with him at the end of the day, can eat those chunk of minutes, provide some offensive pressure when needed, but overall nothing too flashy, just something that you can bank on night in and night out. So Mikko, a very strong pick just from a year ago for the Leafs, and he's a good indication of just how deep this prospect pool is to have him all the way here at 10. Next up at number 9, we have a guy's name who I'm probably going to butcher, so bear with me. It is Semyon Arguntsev. I butchered that. I apologize. I don't know what else to say there. But when it comes to this forward, another promising one, and many could argue could have him higher in their list, and I understand that argument, but I have him here at 9, and here's why. The 20-year-old centerman, 5'10", 163 pounds, 3rd round draft pick as well. But back in 2018, this past year in the OHL, 55 games played, a strong season to say no less. In he had 75 points, including 12 goals, 63 assists. And the year prior in the 18-19 season, in 62 games played, had 6 goals, 40 assists for 46 points. So talk about progression. And he also had 2 points in 3 ECHL games in the 18-19 season as well, balancing between the 2 leagues. And this year in the 2020-2021 season, to start off playing in the KHL, has 3 points in 7 games at the time of recording this. So what is the deal with a guy like Semyon? Well, he's a strong playmaker, another guy that has a decent 200-foot game, can show some flashes in that offensive zone. Nothing too crazy, however. He is smaller in stature, but he is a little bit of a speed demon at times, so you can expect some solid upside with him. We're talking top 9 potential, I would say, at the NHL level. At this point in time, a guy over these next couple years should be competing in North America to have a good spot in this Leafs roster, as they're going to be dealing with a revolving door, if you will, regarding a lot of positions in that bottom 6, and it's going to be heavy competition in camp over these next 3 to 4 years in that bottom 6, and I expect Semyon to be a big part of it. He is a guy, another solid draft pick by Kyle Dubas, strong playmaking ability, can be a good passer as well, can score some goals, but isn't nearly as much known for his goal scoring as he is his playmaking ability. Next up at number 8, we have another interesting prospect, this time from the 2020 NHL draft class, and that is Roni Hirvonen. Right? I don't know. All right, anyways, the centerman, another smaller statured guy at 5'9", just over 160 pounds, 164 to be exact. The 18-year-old drafted in the 2nd round this year, playing in Liga really as a 17 and 18-year-old this past season, which is very impressive no less. In 52 games played, had 5 goals, 11 assists for 16 points. This year, however, in the 2020-2021 season, playing in the Liga, he has 8 points in 18 games at the time of recording this. So a huge jump in his overall production, and is a guy that you can expect quite a bit from. Yes, I know he's small in stature, and yes, I know Kyle Dubas has been favoring these smaller stature guys, given their overall skill, say, over size, and I understand that. That's how Dubas has been rolling with a lot of these prospects. It's not purposeful when it comes to stature, but Roni is a really balanced two-way centerman. We are talking about a guy that has some of the most potential out of this entire prospect pool, and you should not be fazed by his size by any means. At 5'9", he's still so balanced, 200-foot game. He's a great playmaker, really superb passer that can shoot the puck at times as well, but he's just responsible and very articulate with how he does his decision making. He's a guy that you will not see get caught slipping, if you will, much often. Going into that offensive zone, and with his transition game, he can help you 5-on-5 or on special teams, either way. A guy that really has a lot to give, plays far above his size and stature, and I can really see him having an impact in this Leafs roster with quite the offense over these next 4 or 5 years. So be on the lookout. He's having a great start to this season in Liga as an 18-year-old. That is nothing to scoff at, so I would definitely keep an eye on Roni. Next up at number 7, we have the oldest prospect I'll be discussing with you today, and that is EGOR KORSHKOV. KORSHKOV, the 24-year-old, drafted in the second round. You probably know this by now because it was back in 2016, has been a very strong, really strong, not even pun intended, 6'4", over 210-pound right winger, and has a lot to give as well. Left winger, I should say, pardon me. In the AHL this past year, the 24-year-old had 44 games played, had 25 points, including 16 goals and 9 assists. The year prior, he also had 1 goal in 1 game in the NHL this past year for his debut, so very impressive. And the year prior, in the 18-19 season, playing in the KHL, in 19 games played, he had 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. And also in the 2020-2021 season, to start things off, in 26 games playing in the KHL, he has 18 points. So he's really cooking it up in the KHL as it is right now. Great to see for his progression, especially in a league like the KHL, which is really the best league outside of playing in North America in the NHL and AHL. So when it comes to KORSHKOV's game, a really big-bodied winger that has a strong puck and strong playmaking ability as well, but he can really shoot it when he gets in that offensive zone, whether it's he's in the dot 5-on-5 or on the power play. He can make things happen. He's really hard to go up against one-on-one, as a guy that I fully expect to be making his shot for in that bottom 6 in that Leafs offense next season. If not, he will definitely be a call-up candidate right away whenever a trade happens or an injury happens, whatever it may be. KORSHKOV is definitely going to be a reliable guy for the Leafs going into next season, and is going to be a crucial factor with the many guys that we've seen, especially from the KHL for the Leafs in recent years, where they're banking on ELC contracts or just short-term contracts at a low AAV. KORSHKOV is going to be that guy, and I expect him to have a very solid season, a more significant season at the NHL level next year. Next up at number 6, we have a really strong prospect, another one that people could argue, why don't you have him higher, Tyler? Well, you'll see why. Mikhail Abramov definitely is a jack of all trades to a certain extent when it comes to his game. The centerman, the 19-year-old, 6 foot, 185 pounds, 4th round draft pick just a year ago. So another great draft pick by Kyle Dubas and the Leafs, if you ask me. Playing in the QMJHL this past year in 63 games played, 35 goals, 41 assists, 76 points. The year prior in the 18-19 season, 62 games played, 16 goals, 38 assists for 54 points. And thus far this season in the QMJHL in 2020-2021, has 11 points in 7 games. So really strong numbers there, and the guy, superb playmaking ability. He has a high IQ. He's one of the guys that has a higher ceiling than others in this prospect pool, and really has a lot to give. His vision is definitely up there for this Leafs prospects, no doubt in my mind. When he enters that offensive zone, whether it's 5-on-5 or on special teams, he's so aware of his surroundings. He's so nimble with his skating ability as well. He isn't really rough around the edges in most aspects. He is defensively responsible, nothing crazy, but can get the job done for you. And is another guy that definitely has that top 9, if not top 6 upside for the Leafs. And knowing how the Leafs are with that great center depth with guys like Tavares and Matthews, you can have a lot of guys that maybe aren't expected to be top 6 upside to have that top 6 upside should you put them on their wing, because they're just that good. But when it comes to a guy like Abramov, at least because he is a centerman, I'm not sure if they would move him on the wing. But no less, he's going to be competing fairly soon to hit the NHL, and I don't blame him. A lot of great raw skill there, and surely is one that can be a great impact for the Leafs in the coming years. So keep an eye on a guy like Abramov. He's a lot to give, a really strong playmaker overall. Next up, at number 5, we have forward Nick Abruzzese. Again, I probably said his name wrong. I apologize, guys. I'm not good with these names. I'm really not. But no less, even if I did get it right, then cool. If not, then whatever. Anyways, when it comes to this guy that I have fifth here for you today, the centerman, 21 years of age, 5'9", again, another smaller stature guy, but don't let that phase you at all. He has a lot to give. 160 pounds, drafted in the 4th round back in 2019 as well. We've got back-to-back 2019 4th round picks for the Leafs, and they're both high in this draft prospect ranking, no doubt. The Harvard player playing as a freshman in Harvard University this past year. What a debut season he had. One of the better players in all of college. We're talking 44 points and yes, 31 games, including 14 goals and 30 assists. Beautiful. In the year prior, however, playing his final year in the USHL, 62 games played, 29 goals, 51 assists for 80 points. This guy has really another guy with superb hockey IQ and vision, strong playmaking ability, a really sound skater, has a decent 200-foot game as well. And is a guy that really has probably some better top 6 potential over many of these other prospects I've discussed with you thus far today. So when it comes to Nick's game, you can expect a lot in that offensive zone, bringing it in. He's so elusive when it comes to his skating overall, and his playmaking ability is really superb out of this entire prospect pool. I love it. The Leafs are known for their playmakers in this prospect pool from what I'm telling you thus far, and that's a great thing to have. You rather have a lot of these guys that are great with when it comes to their overall playmaking ability and their ability to be reliable on a night-to-night basis. This is the kind of thing in that 200-foot game. These are all great attributes for a Toronto Maple Leafs team that is lacking in certain aspects of that game. They have a lot of great star power. They have the goal scoring ability. Now it's just a matter of continuing to round things out, and Nick is going to help that a ton over these next couple years. Next up, we have at number 4, an awesome prospect and one that the Pittsburgh Penguins just threw away. And don't ask me why, Jim Rutherford, but that is forward Filip Hallander. Hallander is a guy that many have reported on since he was traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs as part of that trade with Kasperi Kapanen going the other way, and that first round pick becoming Rodion Amirov for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2020 NHL draft. But Hallander was quite the steal, so underrated, and is a guy that many believe Kyle Dubas is unbelievably high on, and that makes perfect sense because when we get into him here, Hallander, the centerman, 21 years of age, but can play the wing as well, might be more of a winger at the NHL level, but time will tell. 6 foot, 190 pounds, 2nd round pick in 2018 by the Penguins. In the SHL this past season, 27 games played, 14 points, including 5 goals and 9 assists. The year prior, however, in 45 games played, had 7 goals, 14 assists for 21 points. Thus far in the 2020-2021 season in the SHL, 6 points in 14 games. So again, nothing too flashy, but he is so balanced. This guy has superb ability. Another guy with great 200-foot game, something that we know the Leafs need. This feels like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but they really have it all on that front with balanced centers that know how to play in their own end, have a strong 200-foot game, whether it's the back checking or the forward checking. This guy has soft hands. He has really superb playmaking ability, great passer overall, 5-on-5 and special teams, can probably help out on the PK as well need be, and really is one that I could surely see as a reliable guy in that top 9 for the Leafs for years down end. This guy has really all the tools it takes to be at the NHL level sooner rather than later, and I think he is going to be crucial to the Leafs, to be perfectly honest with you, with their runs that they're sure to have in the playoffs over this next decade. So Filip Hallander, I think we're going to look back and see how coveted this trade was for Kasperi Kapanen, not just because of that first round talent that they got in Amirov, but because of Hallander. He's being slept on by a lot of people, and they really need to stop because he really is the real deal. Next up at number 3, and I know I spelled his name wrong because there's an E in between the J and the G, I believe, but Timothy Liljegren, another solid defenseman, a guy that some people are worried about, and I understand the argument for being a bust at the NHL level, but I think there is still a lot of promise with Timothy because he made huge strides in the AHL this past year. But who is Liljegren? Well, let's get right into it. The right-handed defenseman, 21 years of age, he's 6 foot, 198 pounds, first-round draft pick in 2017 by the Leafs, has been a coveted prospect for them really for quite some time now. It feels like forever, even though it hasn't been that long. But a lot's happened in just 3 years, arguably. In the AHL this past season, in 40 games played, had 5 goals, 25 assists for 30 points, and had 1 point in 11 NHL games this past year. The year prior, in the AHL, had 43 games played, had 3 goals, 12 assists for 15 points, and had 1 game in the ECHL in the 18-19 season as well, splitting time between that and the AHL. When it comes to Liljegren, we know the story. He's a really strong skater, honestly one of the better skaters out of this entire prospect pool, especially as a defenseman, and really is nimble out there for sure, even given his size at just an average size of 6 foot, 198, so about 200. a really strong two-way defenseman as well, can contribute offensively. We've known this. We're putting up right around 30 points in the AHL is nothing to scoff at by any means. We're talking about just under 10 points of being a point per game player. So really solid numbers, can be that power play quarterback if need be, but you're really not expecting that from Liljegren. He's just another balanced guy that can eat those minutes and just be so reliable as a two-way defenseman. Great 200-foot game. So we'll see what he can do. I fully expect him to be pushing hard for a spot in the AHL in camp next season. He will have his back up against the wall a little bit just because of some of the additions the Leafs made this offseason, but no less, the time is now for a guy like Liljegren to graduate to be a consistent NHLer, and I truly believe, given everything that we've seen over the past year, that his time is now. Next up at number 2, we have probably the most interesting prospect out of this entire prospect pool, and that is Rodion Amirov. Amirov was drafted 15th overall by the Toronto Maple Leafs in that draft pick by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 2020 NHL draft. Amirov, another smaller statured winger, but fear not. The left winger, 6 foot, 167 pounds. He doesn't have a lot of size to his game, but he makes up for it with, again, another guy that has great playmaking ability. So in 21 games this past year in the KHL, he only had 2 points. And I know you're wondering, why do we have a guy so high that only had 2 points at the KHL level? Well, it's because of everything that he was doing in a limited role in the KHL, and while he was also playing in his other leagues leading up to this point. He has really been phenomenal, so don't let those numbers at the men's league level phase you just yet, at least. Also playing, and he's 19 years old now, so also playing this year in the 2020-2021 season, 6 points in 21 games. So we're seeing significant progression. He's really looking almost like a 90-day difference, gain more opportunities in the KHL as a 19-year-old. As I mentioned, so he is one of the little bit older prospects. I have some others out of this first round of 2020, but a lot to give. A great playmaker, great hockey IQ, great vision. The only thing that's really lacking with his game is just that pure explosiveness as being a speedy guy, if you will. He doesn't have superb speed and acceleration. It's solid. I'd say it's about average at this point, but it's something he's going to continue to work with. And obviously building up some more muscle and being more mature at the NHL level, which he is going to hit sooner rather than later. Whenever his KHL contract's up and he hits the league, I don't think it's going to take him long to be a very strong top 6 winger in the NHL. It's just a matter of really rounding out his game when it comes to who he is and his build, really maturing, if you will. But this is great progression for him. It's great experience to be gaining the kind of playing time that he has been in the KHL. Another guy that can be a great setup man in that top 6, top 9, and can really start to get more of that goal scoring ability in the years going forward. Has a strong defensive game as well. Just again, when you look at this Leafs prospect pool, it is so reliable and it's so consistent in my mind with these forwards when it comes to their 200-foot game. Amirov is going to add to that. He has fantastic overall skills. He has really nifty hands. He's a really nifty skater, and he has a lot more to give than what just the eye test or the statistics will tell you. He's an analytical dream, and I really think Amirov is going to be quite the steal looking back for the Leafs, even at the draft pick like 15. I know a lot of people didn't have him as high as there, and I didn't either at first. But looking back now, boy, oh boy, was I wrong. I'm sure whoever else felt that way is going to look back and be like, wow, he's going to be something. And at number 1, a surprise is absolutely nobody. It is Nicholas Robertson. What a story this guy is. Really went from just over a year ago being a prospect by the Leafs that while he looked like a steal in his draft, we weren't expecting the kind of production, at least I didn't, for the St. Borough Petes playing this past year. And boy, oh boy, did he impress all the way to the NHL level in the NHL's qualifying round this past year. But when you look at his numbers, the 19-year-old, 5'9", 164 pounds, so yes, another smaller statured guy, winner, the second round pick in 2019, playing in the OHL for the Petes, as I mentioned, 46 games played, 55 goals, 31 assists, for 86 points. He fell in his draft because of his size. He's always had some of the best goal scoring ability, even out of that draft class that saw some great guys as well. And boy, oh boy, does he look like he's going to be something at the NHL level next season. 1 point in 4 games in the NHL, as I mentioned, this past year. In the OHL in the 2018-2019 season, 54 games played, had 27 goals, 28 assists for 55 points. So the goal scoring's always been there, but now he really rounded out more of his playmaking ability to an extent, and he is a lethal weapon when it comes to that offense. You put him in that top 6, top 9 next season, it seems like a given. We all know this for the Leafs. They're ecstatic about Nick Robertson. You should be. He has superb playmaking and ability, and as an overall winner, he's so nimble. He's so fast as well. He's a guy that can catch you in so many different ways as the opposing defender, and really is a guy that in that top 6, especially, 5-on-5 and on the power play with that left-hand shot and the right dot. Oh my god, the possibilities are endless with a guy like Nicholas Robertson. And an offense, I'll see him with a guy like Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Auston Matthews, John Tavares. He will be gaining those opportunities, I assure you, at some point in time throughout the season, if not right away. And he is going to definitely make a case to be a dark horse runner for the Calder next year, which is going to be such an amazing race, and I'll discuss that in another video. But Nick Robertson has all the tools to really be a possible elite goal scorer at the NHL level. We're talking consistently being a 20 to 25 plus goal scorer at the NHL level, and with this kind of offense, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. That's going to conclude this video, guys. So some honorable mentions to leave you off with. I have Adam Brooks right outside that top 10, along with a guy that one could argue is definitely deserving to be an honorable mention at least, and that's why I have him here. His 3rd round pick by the Leafs this past year, and that is Topi Niemela, another guy that I've really been interested in since he's been drafted by the Leafs, and is one of those that many believe is even has a higher ceiling than Roni Hirvonen. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Roni, you know what I mean. The guy that I discussed on number 8 here in this video as another potential guy to have a strong impact, maybe even higher than Roni. So we'll see what happens. I have Roni higher than him as of now, but good arguments to be had. Another strong draft for the Leafs. They focused on skill, and they really stood out, no doubt in my mind. But what are your thoughts on this video? If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, guys, it means a ton. Help us get to 3,000 subscribers. It would really mean a lot as a short-term goal. So you hitting those buttons and hitting that notification bell and sharing this video with others really does go a long way. So thank you in advance. Make sure to check out previous videos I'll have in the end screen shortly regarding other top 10 prospects for individual prospect pools. Expect more going forward. Talking about other teams, I'll be covering the Hurricanes, the Canucks, plenty more, and I'll also be breaking down individual positions sooner rather than later, maybe even the day after recording this, including the top 10 defensive prospects in all the NHL, the top 10 wingers, the top 10 centers, and so on and so forth. I'm really looking forward to these guys, and I hope you are too. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Share this video, tell all your friends, and let me know if you agree or disagree with me on my list. And I'll see you guys next time.